When you hear the name Gordon Ramsay, what comes to mind? Probably Hell's Kitchen, Michelin stars, brutal honesty, that infamous temper, a culinary giant who doesn't hand out compliments easily. But what if I told you that this fiery British chef, known for shredding even the most seasoned cooks on live television, has nothing but glowing praise for one country you might not expect? Yes, the Philippines. Gordon Ramsay, a man who's cooked in the finest kitchens across Europe, tasted rare delicacies in Asia, and judged thousands of dishes worldwide, can't stop talking about Filipino food, Filipino culture, and most shockingly, the Filipino people. And what he said, it'll genuinely shock you. From the bold flavors of adobo and the crispy perfection of lechon, to the heartwarming hospitality of a people he claims are some of the kindest in the world, Ramsay's experiences in the Philippines didn't just impress him. They moved him. But how did this happen? Why the Philippines? And what exactly did he say that's got global chefs, foodies, and even his harshest fans doing a double take? We're diving deep into Gordon Ramsay's unforgettable encounters with the Philippines, the food that changed his perspective, the culture that captured his heart, and the words he spoke that are now rippling across the globe. Because once you hear what Ramsay really said, you'll never look at the Philippines the same way again. Gordon Ramsay, a global culinary icon. To understand why Gordon Ramsay's praise for the Philippines matters so much, you first need to understand who he is in the culinary world. Ramsay isn't just another celebrity chef. He's a global force in the food industry. With over 17 Michelin stars awarded to his restaurants throughout his career and a presence in more than 30 international dining establishments, Ramsay's opinion isn't just respected, it's revered. He rose to international fame with TV shows like Hell's Kitchen, MasterChef, Kitchen Nightmares, and Gordon Ramsay, Uncharted. Each show reveals a different side of his culinary genius. From brutal critiques to passionate mentorship to daring adventures across foreign lands in search of authentic food experiences. He's not someone who gives praise lightly. In fact, he's famous for scathing reviews, harsh insults, and sky-high standards. For many chefs, hearing Ramsay say your food is good is equivalent to receiving a standing ovation. So when Ramsay started openly complimenting the Philippines, not just once but repeatedly, people took notice. His global influence has shaped modern cuisine, brought attention to underrepresented food cultures, and even impacted restaurant sales overnight. That's why his glowing comments about Filipino food and culture didn't just raise eyebrows. They made headlines. Ramsay's first encounter with Filipino cuisine. Gordon Ramsay's first in-depth exposure to Filipino cuisine came during his popular National Geographic series, Gordon Ramsay, Uncharted. In the episode shot in the Philippines, Ramsay journeyed through the lush landscapes of Luzon and interacted with local farmers, fisherfolk, and cooks. It wasn't just a casual tasting. It was a full immersion into the heart of Filipino culinary tradition. He was introduced to adobo, the unofficial national dish, and was immediately fascinated by its complexity. The tanginess of vinegar, the umami of soy sauce, the richness of pork. That's delicious. That's properly done, he exclaimed with a smile, in one of the few moments where his infamous harshness gave way to genuine admiration. Then came lechon, the slow-roasted pig with crispy golden skin. Ramsay, who has tasted pork in virtually every part of the world, was visibly stunned. "This is on another level," he said, almost laughing in disbelief. "Crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside. It's like a party in your mouth." He also sampled sinigang, a sour tamarind-based soup that caught him off guard. "I wasn't expecting that," he admitted. "It's bold. It's sour. It's beautiful." Then came the curveball, Halo Halo, a wildly colorful dessert with crushed ice, condensed milk, purple yam, sweet beans, and more. At first skeptical, Ramsey took a spoonful and laughed. This is dessert chaos, and somehow it works. But it wasn't just the food, it was how he received it. Ramsey dined with locals who prepared these dishes in humble kitchens or open fire pits. He asked questions, listened to stories, and showed something rare: respect. There was no arrogance, just appreciation and a spark of awe in his eyes. That journey became a turning point, not just for Ramsey, but for how the world would begin to what Gordon Ramsay really said and why it shocked everyone. In a culinary world, Gordon Ramsay's praise can make or break reputations. So when he said this, people listened. I've eaten food all over the world, but Filipino food? That blew me away. That single quote, which came during a post-episode interview, sent shockwaves across food blogs, Reddit threads, and culinary circles worldwide. Ramsay was genuinely stunned, not by a Michelin-starred meal, but by the depth, history, and flavor of humble Filipino cooking. He didn't stop there. He compared the flavor complexity of Filipino dishes to those of Thai and Japanese cuisine, which are already celebrated globally for their intricate balance of ingredients. But he argued that Filipino food had something different, a fusion of Spanish, Chinese, Malay, and American influences wrapped into something uniquely Filipino. There's a soul to this food, he said. It's rustic, it's raw, it's deeply personal. And the best part? It's still undiscovered by much of the world. For food critics, this was a bombshell. Filipino cuisine, long relegated to the shadows of its Asian neighbors, had rarely received this level of mainstream international validation. Ramsay's endorsement wasn't just a compliment. It was a call to attention. Why was this shocking? Because Filipino cuisine, despite its rich history and bold flavors, has often been underrepresented on the global stage. Few Filipino restaurants earn Michelin stars. Very few non-Filipinos even know what kare-kare or sinigang are. And this praise was coming from someone who's made a career tearing apart culinary mediocrity. The internet exploded. Twitter threads lit up with clips from the episode. Filipino netizens beamed with pride. YouTube reactions popped up within hours. Filipino Americans shared the videos with their friends. Suddenly, adobo wasn't just that dish my mom makes. It became something Gordon Ramsay called brilliant. In one interview, a Filipino chef in California said, "When Gordon Ramsay talks, the world listens. And when he talks about us, we feel seen." Filipino dishes that blew Ramsay's mind. The 5 dishes that Gordon Ramsay couldn't stop talking about, and why each one left a mark on one of the world's harshest food critics. Adobo, often dubbed the national dish of the Philippines. Adobo is a beautiful contradiction. Simple ingredients with incredibly deep flavor. Ramsay praised its perfect balance of salty, sour, and savory. There's a science to this, he said. The vinegar tenderizes, the soy gives it depth, and the garlic just sings through. He was particularly impressed by how every household has its own version. Proof that tradition and creativity can coexist. Lechon. Lechon wasn't new to Ramsay, but tasting in the Philippines was a revelation. The crackling is unreal, he said, biting into the golden skin with an audible crunch. What impressed him most wasn't just the taste, but the process: spit roasted for hours, basted constantly, served with liver sauce and a side of celebration. This isn't just food, Ramsay said. It's a performance. Sinigang. Sinigang was perhaps the biggest surprise. A sour soup made with tamarind, vegetables, and often pork or shrimp. It challenged Ramsay's palate in a way few dishes could. You expect warmth and comfort from a soup, he said, but this slaps you with tang. And you love it. Kare-kare. Thick, nutty, and rich, kare-kare is a peanut-based stew that caught Ramsay off guard. It's like sauté and pot roast, he said. The use of oxtail, banana heart, and fermented shrimp paste, bagoong, added layers of flavor he hadn't anticipated. It's indulgent, but there's finesse. Halo. At first, Ramsey admitted he thought Halo looked chaotic, but one spoonful changed everything. Sweet corn, purple yam, beans in a dessert. Madness, he said. But it works. It really works. Local chefs who cooked for Ramsey said he was curious, respectful, and intensely focused. He asked about every ingredient one street vendor shared. He wanted to know the why, not just the what. And remarkably, for once, he didn't scream. Gordon Ramsay on Filipino culture and hospitality. What truly moved Gordon Ramsay in the Philippines wasn't just the cuisine, it was the people behind it. He spoke openly about how touched he was by the hospitality of the Filipino people. Whether in a bustling street market in Manila or a quiet fishing village in Ilocos, Ramsay was welcomed with open arms, warm smiles, and heaping plates of home-cooked meals. The food is incredible, he said, but the people, even more so. He admired the resilience he saw, how communities rebuilt after typhoons, how people laughed easily despite hardships, and how food was always part of the healing process. You feel it, Ramsay said, in every bite. This isn't just cooking. It's care. It's pride. In his interviews, he emphasized how Filipino hospitality is unmatched. Guests are treated like family. Meals are shared with generosity, not pretension. Even as a foreigner, Ramsay was given the best seat, the freshest ingredients, and the warmest welcome. He contrasted this with the often rigid, formal nature of fine dining. In the Philippines, he said, you sit on a plastic stool, eat with your hands, and you feel like royalty. This authenticity left a lasting impression. Ramsay didn't just leave the Philippines with a full stomach. How Ramsay's praise sparked a Filipino food movement. When Gordon Ramsay speaks, the culinary world listens, and his words about the Philippines were no exception. Almost immediately after his episode aired and interviews surfaced, the global ripple effect began. In cities like New York, London, and Los Angeles, where Filipino restaurants had long played second fiddle to more mainstream Asian cuisines, a noticeable shift occurred. Foodies who had never tried adobo or sinigang began making reservations. Chefs reported a surge in customer interest. One restaurant owner in Queens said, when Ramsay praised adobo, our bookings doubled in 2 weeks. Filipino creators on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram jumped at the opportunity. Cooking tutorials for Care and Lechon went viral. Content creators proudly highlighted the complexity of regional Filipino cuisines, from the seafood-rich Bicol Express to the Ilocano favorite pinakbet. A movement was unfolding, and Ramsay had unknowingly become the catalyst. Even tourism saw a boost. People wanted the Gordon Ramsay experience in the Philippines. Eating halo from a street cart, tasting real lechon at a festival, or joining a fishing family for a seaside dinner. Travel vloggers began adding the Philippines to their bucket lists, citing Ramsay's influence as a reason. In interviews, Filipino chefs shared their excitement. One said, when someone like Ramsay talks about our food with such respect, it's not just flattering, it's empowering. We've always known how good our food is. Now the world is finally catching up. The Philippines in Ramsay's future plans? So, with all this admiration and momentum, is Gordon Ramsay coming back? While Ramsay hasn't officially confirmed another trip or a restaurant launch in the Philippines, he has dropped several hints that have fans buzzing. In one interview, he remarked, there's so much more to explore in the Philippines, different islands, different regional cuisines. I've barely scratched the surface. Food media outlets have speculated about a possible second episode of Uncharted in Mindanao or the Visayas, focusing on lesser-known dishes and indigenous ingredients. Some even believe Ramsey is in talks with local culinary schools to collaborate on cultural exchanges or mentorship programs. Rumors also swirled online about a potential Filipino-inspired pop-up in one of Ramsey's restaurants. Perhaps a short-term menu featuring elevated versions of adobo, sinigang, or halo halo. Nothing has been confirmed, but the excitement is real. Filipino fans, both at home and abroad, have been vocal in their requests. Come back, Chef Gordon. Give us a full Filipino episode. Open a restaurant that puts our food on the Michelin map. Whether or not he acts on these opportunities, one thing is certain. Gordon Ramsay's journey with the Philippines isn't over. Filipino reactions, from surprise to pride. When Gordon Ramsay publicly praised Filipino food and culture, the reaction from Filipinos around the world was electric. On social media, hashtags like hashtag Gordon Ramsay Philippines and hashtag Pinoy Pride began trending. Tweets ranged from disbelief. Did Gordon Ramsay really just say sinigang is beautiful? To emotional gratitude. A TikTok of a Filipino grandmother reacting tearfully to Ramsay praising adobo racked up millions of views. Filipino news outlets and morning shows highlighted the story, calling it a milestone moment for the country's cultural recognition. Popular food blogger Erwin Husaf commented, "For years we've tried to explain to the world what makes our food special. Then Gordon Ramsay does one episode, and boom, the world finally gets it." Perhaps the most heartfelt reactions came from overseas Filipino workers, OFWs. For many of them, Filipino food is a taste of home, a link to their roots while living abroad. Hearing a respected global figure admire that food gave them a deep sense of validation. One comment summed it up beautifully. "We've always known how good our food is. But when someone like Gordon Ramsay says it, the world starts to pay attention." It's not just about food, it's about identity. The reactions weren't just about pride. They were about being seen, being heard, and finally being celebrated for something deeply woven, the global rise of Filipino cuisine. Is Ramsay the catalyst? In the years leading up to Ramsay's Philippines episode, Filipino cuisine had already begun to gain quiet traction. But after Ramsay's glowing endorsement, that slow movement turned into a full-on surge. Netflix food shows began featuring Filipino dishes. Influencers across Southeast Asia began doing adobo and halo halo taste tests. Food bloggers who previously stuck to Thai, Vietnamese, or Japanese food started branching out, with Filipino cuisine as their next fascination. Celebrity chefs, including Anthony Bourdain before his passing, had once pointed out that Filipino cuisine was the next big thing. But it was Ramsay's bold, unapologetic approval that helped push it into the global spotlight. Today, you'll find Filipino flavors being infused into fine dining menus in London, Paris, and even Tokyo. Chefs are experimenting with fusion, adobo tacos, sinigang ramen, ube cheesecakes, and pushing the boundaries of what Filipino food can be. But amid all the innovation, one thing remains clear. The soul of the cuisine is still intact. It's comfort food. It's storytelling. It's heritage. Ramsay didn't just shine a spotlight. He inspired a culinary awakening. As food editor Pauline Santos said in a recent article, Gordon Ramsay didn't just praise Filipino food. He validated it. And when someone with his credibility does that, the whole world listens. And they did. Gordon Ramsay, the fire-breathing chef known for his relentless pursuit of perfection, found something unexpected in the Philippines. Not just great food, but something deeper, something heartfelt, something transformative. He called adobo a masterpiece of balance. He marveled at the crunch of lechon, the sour elegance of sinigang, and the delightful madness of halo. He didn't just eat the food, he felt it. And then, with the world watching, he said, "Filipino food blew me away." In that moment, a door opened, not just for food, but for culture, identity, and pride. Millions of Filipinos from Manila to Milan felt validated, and millions of non-Filipinos were introduced to a cuisine they'd never taken seriously before. But Ramsey's praise didn't stop at the plate. He praised the resilience of the people, the depth of tradition, and the warmth of hospitality that makes the Philippines unlike any other place on earth. This wasn't just about food. This was about being seen, about a world finally recognizing a culture long overlooked in global culinary conversations. So what does this mean going forward? It means that Filipino cuisine is no longer secret. It's a global player. And much of that credit goes to a man who has no filter, no patience for mediocrity, and no hesitation in speaking the truth, Gordon Ramsay. In a world of Michelin stars and fine dining, it's humbling to know that street-side lechon or a bowl of sinigang can capture the heart of someone like him. If you're Filipino, be proud. If you're not, it's time to taste the food that left Gordon Ramsay